hello to you. I am ASMR Weedle, and today I will be using a soft-spoken voice to help you battle and confront your fears by using positive affirmation to help you confront your fears, because we all are afraid of something. We all are afraid of something. But today we'll be using healing, light, and positive affirmation to help you get through whatever you're afraid of. So remember, if you do enjoy my content, remember to click the like button and subscribe to my channel. And I hope I can help you today by giving you blessed, relaxed, and calm and good light to help you through whatever you're afraid of. So we all have things we fear. We all have things we fear. It can be natural fears like failing at life, or not finding love, or failing at exams and stuff like that, or losing one's job. Things which can sort of cause challenges in our daily life, or just financial stuff. Or it can be more serious fears, from a global perspective, like nuclear wars and natural disasters. Or it can just be like these completely irrational fears, like monsters coming out of the closet and stuff like that. It's so much we can be afraid of. But what's most important to remember when it comes to our fears is that they aren't true, most of them. Most of our fears never come true. Occasionally, some of them can unfortunately come true, but most of our fears does not come true. No. So I'll begin with, I'll address various fears here. So I will begin with the fear of failing at life. I just want you to know you are not a failure, whatever you. And even if you have periods where it feels like it, or where there are challenges, you have to remember that you will find new success and new paths again. It isn't over. And there are people who love and appreciate you and who always will do so. Trust me in that. I do, at the very least. And you have to appreciate and value yourself too. Success can be so many things. Success can be helping others, or just helping yourself get through life, or just adding something to yourself in your daily life or the world by just writing, painting, whatever you enjoy, And it doesn't matter if you don't have like insta success at a young age, because remember to have perspective here in what success and failure is both a part of life. So having one failure doesn't mean that you have failed at life, because you haven't. It's just natural. No matter how successful we are, we all have those periods where life just doesn't feel successful. There exists super successful people that actually fail at their relationships, or at other projects they want to do. We all experience it regardless. Failure is not something we should fear. It's just a part of life, as is success. But remember this, just as there are failures in life, there are successes as well. You don't need to be afraid just because you have one or even just two things you fail at, because you're going to succeed later again. There will be new and good light successes and new blessings to guide you onwards. So what if you fail at exams? Well, if you do fail at exams, it's not the end of life or the world, as some people may suggest. If you're doing exams, you're most likely very young yet. There will be many new chances and new paths for you. You can't judge a life when a person is just 17, 18 or early to mid-20s. It's not possible to judge a life that early, It's way too early to judge because there will be so many new chances and new paths, unless you just decide to lay down in your couch and do nothing, which is a choice you can make. You will have so many new choices and so many new paths in life. There are absolutely people who fail at exams who find success later in life. And there are so remember that it's not the end of the world. Of course, if you do manage through exams and exams go fine, which it most likely will, that's great. And of course, that adds one less worry to your life. But even if you were to fail, it's not the end of the world. Although, of course, I hope if someone watches this is going to an exam soon or right now, I hope you succeed. I hope you succeed. I do. I mean that. However, you will find new paths and new chances regardless. Trust me. Okay, yeah, there are so many new chances and new paths you can take. Now, perhaps you're afraid you won't find love if you have been single your whole life. You won't find either a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Well, my concept about is what love can arrive. For some, love arrives like very early in teens, but for others it arrives in much older age. There's even people who don't find love before they're in their 40s, 50s maybe even. But regardless of how early or late love arrives, when love do arrive, from what I have understood, it is usually a great thing, and the longer the wait, the more value and deep that love will be. Remember what a lot of teenage relationships, there are some teenage relationships which actually are very true love and becomes very lasting, but many relationships that are formed in people's teens aren't always that lasting, because from the teens to the 20s, a lot of people change so radically. They often tend to grow apart. So if you haven't found love before later in life, that can actually be an advantage, because usually when you're in your 20s and 30s stuff and 40s, you will, especially later in your 20s, you will usually be a little more stable, and it will be easier to make the relationship stable. Of course, this depends on personalities and chemistry and stuff like that, but I think you're more likely to sort of create a lasting relationship if you find love a little later in life. That said, there are absolutely relationships that you find at a young age, which can be great. So if there are any younger watching this, it's absolutely possible to find those deep love when you're like 17, 18 too, or in early 20s. Yeah, that's absolutely possible. And actually, I'd say it's more likely in that age when, for example, at 13 or 14. So yeah. So remember, don't have to be afraid, no matter how late you find love in life. Remember, the more you wait, the more your patience might be paid off. I'm not saying you should wait. If you have the chance at love and you feel it is right, take it, please. But if you have to wait, just remember this. That's completely okay. And trust me when I say there is more than one person out there for everyone. It's just that sometimes a lot of people live too far apart from each other to know each other. But trust me when I say, if you had the opportunity to meet absolutely every possibility in the world, you would definitely have found more than one match. And I believe that eventually most people will get to the point where they will find a match. But even if some people remain alone in their life, there are other ways to find that good, light, relaxing, calming feeling inside. You don't have to be afraid of being alone, because you can find love to the world and to humanity and peace within you in so many other ways too. I, for example, find a peace within me by just doing this, and by writing and stuff I enjoy doing. And if you find that love to your interests, that can feel a lot for you too. You can just feel joy in life in general, at the world, at humanity, at nature. There's so many other ways to find love to the world and to the world and to the cosmos. there are absolutely people who have been completely alone in life, who have been very successful, and who have had enjoyable lives despite being alone. We haven't been alone necessarily. I mean, we had had friends and companions, but we might not have found relationships. Now, there are examples in history of people who never had relationships, but who were very successful, actually. Mm. So, all things are possible. Now, as I told you some moments ago, or some minutes ago, remember that success is something which will eventually come in some form or another. Success can be finding love, it can be raising a family, like having children, and it can be just small stuff like succeeding at these tests at school, or an exam, which is a little bigger, or just like having a good day even can be a success in its own right. Or just helping others through charity and stuff. That's a success too. Shouldn't be underestimated. I mean, it helps other people. So it should not be underestimated. No. When it can just be like, well, so much minor and more major stuff, really. Yeah. And there's a lot, and just giving joy to yourself and others is also a success in its own right. Finding new friends. Actually, our life is filled with successes. We just have to choose to see them. Because often we are taught that success are only these extreme materialistic things, but it's not. Success is all the small things in life. The friendships we make, the love we find. All those small things, that's the true success. And of course, keeping our spirits and our hopes up and defeating that fear within us. That's a great success in its own right. Remember that extreme materialistic success does not guarantee calm or peace inside you. If you experience it, I'm sure it can be great, but it doesn't give peace or calm. It gives joy, but peace and calm is something we have to find within ourselves, regardless of who we are. But peace and calm can only come from within us if we try to find it. By choosing to focus on what light, good, blessed, divine, peaceful, calming light place within ourselves. That's where we find our peace and our inner success, if you wish. That peace which can give joy and light to ourselves and to the world. Now I'll go on to more serious fears very soon, and also I will also address that fear that if you lose your job, that's not a fun situation to go to, because that could cause financial and economic challenges, but it's still not the end of the world. You just have to not give up and hope you find a new job or find a new project. Usually, most people in some way or another make it through that difficult period and come out stronger at the other end and find new ventures and projects and jobs. Eventually, there's no such thing as a lasting difficult period in my experience. I mean, by that I mean it doesn't last forever, Eventually, you and your family will get out of it, and you'll find much better tidings and better places again. And of course, I'm talking about this no matter who you are, whether you're a commoner who has a regular job, or you're someone who has been very successful, like you have these high-profile jobs, and for some reason you lost a job, like maybe you were a leader of project or something, and you were fired for some reason, or you had to resign because you perhaps lost a vote of some kind or something. It's not fun to go through, but it's part of life. But regardless of what you've gone through, losing that job will not be the end for you. You have to keep hope, and you have to keep going on and keep going strong. It's important. And remember that what you have done is of value, and what you will do in the future is of value. Thank you. Hope it helps. Okay, so never give up, never give up. And then we can also go on to the more serious fears, like natural disasters, because some people live in areas where natural disasters are common. No, I'll be honest with you, most likely you're not going to be taken by a natural disaster. You're not going to be in the hot zone of a natural disaster. I know we sometimes watch on the news people who are, but most people does not experience this to any serious degree. Most people on the news, the reason why that is on the news is because it's a unique event. Natural disaster. So you don't have to be afraid of you getting caught up in something as extreme as that, because most likely you will not be. No. I know what people talk about global warming and stuff today, and yes, I'm not going to deny any of those things, but remember that when we look at natural cycles, even if global warming hastens it a little, I don't think it's super likely you'll go through anything super extreme in your lifetime. Because these cycles often take a bit of time. There'll probably come a change in climate and some more natural disasters, because the Earth is through that cycle and period right now, and global warming might have or the human effect on global warming might have sort of sped the process up a little and sort of caused some of it, but maybe. But I still don't think it's super likely that you'll be caught up in a natural disaster, because these effects aren't that. We are extreme, but we're not that extreme. People will always sort of predict the worst things, but and certainly sometimes in some areas there will happen things, but for the most part, but I suspect for most people something we will remain safe. For most people we remain safe, at least in their lifetimes. Yeah, I think that there will happen some nature events through this century, but I suspect that future centuries will have bigger worries in this respect than our century. When we talk about climate change and stuff like that, it really is more, I think that when people do that, sure, we think about the current generations as well, but it's more about future generations, really, especially the generations living in the later centuries. Remember that these cycles nature, even when humans speed them up, are a little gradual. I am an historian, so I know what when you see cycles in the universe in nature, you have to look at cycles which last for centuries and millennia. So it's important to address the climate, but it's most important it's important for our generation as well, but it's actually far more important for the generations that come in later centuries. So just don't get caught up in that extreme, hey, the world is going to end thought, because just remember that people have believed the world was going to end since millennia. There are end days prophecies from 2000 years ago. And, back then it was of course religiously based, but still, and some of it is today too. But just remember, but most likely you're not going to see the end of the world in your lifetime. It's an irrational fear. Trust me. There are always people who have believed that, hey, the world is going to end in my lifetime, but it most likely won't. No. Anyway, there's also other fears, like a nuclear apocalypse, but I just have to say this about a nuclear apocalypse. The reason why the nuclear war isn't that realistic in the near future as some people might think it is because if one power actually had shot a nuclear weapon at another power, the other power would respond with nuclear weapon. The point is, no one benefits or gains from a nuclear war. So the people who are warmongers, they want to see who will control these states. They want to see their territory expand and stuff like that. They don't want to see their nations and countries destroyed. Sure, they can threaten with nuclear solutions, because nuclear solutions are a great threat, but it's sort of like a political game. You use it as a threat, but you try to avoid using it. I don't think it's super realistic that we in our lifetime will see it. I know people talk about the possibility, but it's not super realistic that someone will actually use this on each other, because it wouldn't just destroy the opposing nation, it would destroy the own nation as well. And trust me when I say people who control this nation does not want that to happen to the nation that they control, because then they lose influence as well. So they can threaten and stuff like that, but it will take a lot for them to actually do it. However, it's a serious problem for the world, but just don't go around thinking that, hey, this is a super realistic scenario and it's going to happen in the near future. You know, I think most likely it is not going to happen in the near future. None of us has a guarantee, but I don't think it is the most realistic scenario in the near future. That no matter what, no. When there are those sort of completely irrational fears, like monsters in the closet and you know, perhaps vampires and stuff like that, you know. No, I am actually a guy that believes in a lot of crazy weird stuff, or maybe you're even afraid of being like abducted by aliens. I'm not going to ridiculous any of those fears, because I believe in a lot of crazy stuff myself. But just remember this, that most likely you will not encounter anything as crazy as this in your life. And let's say that all of this was real, you know, monsters and stuff like that, and you did encounter it. Well, my experience with most people who have paranormal events is that they survive it. Yeah, you know, sure, they are given a scare then, but they survive it. So, yeah. So they live on their lives, and sure, they think, okay, that was odd, wow, weird, but eventually they just live with it. And so you don't have to be afraid of any paranormal events sort of being a threat to your life. Most paranormal events are not a threat to your life. Whether, you know, whether a logical person will believe that all paranormal events are just within their minds, so they can just rationalize that. But if you are not that type of person, if you're like me, more of a spiritual, open type of person, you just have to remember that mostly the paranormal is not dangerous like that. And even if it was, I believe you could survive it anyway, because if you see things like that are crazy, I say you're probably a very courageous and tough human or soul that can handle it. And then you can find that peaceful, blessed, divine, good light within you afterwards. Yeah, so we don't have to be afraid. There's no reason to be. Fear is a part of life, we all have it. It's a part of our natural fight or flight instinct, really. But when we see something scary, or we feel something scary, we work to preserve ourselves, and that's part of our survival instincts. It's within us from ancient times, but pondering on completely irrational fears before they happen doesn't really help us. Most of our fears are not going to come true. So remember this, you're safe, you're loved, you're appreciated, and you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. You can just put it aside, because whatever is going to happen in the future, it's not today. Today you're safe, today you're loved, and today you can feel that good light, blessed, calming, divine light within you. I hope you really enjoyed this video, and I hope I helped you. It's so important that I could help you. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much.